One of the most heavily used technologies in new toobs is React, which is that virtual DOM library from Facebook that allows us to just kind of write our web apps as though they were game engines and reconcile state separately and do a render pass and kind of work with these ephemeral representations of DOM components rather than actually dealing with DOM components, which is why when we go and look at some of the pages that we've been working with, like the new GoonTube, if you go and view source there, you'll notice that there's no body. I haven't done any isomorphic or server-side rendering yet in order to produce initial content, and because it is a single page application, JS heavy bundle, I don't think it's necessarily worth the initial investment for the moment anyway. So what we're going to do is look at how to, from scratch, get something transpiling from ES2015 and JSX, which is to say the syntax that's really pretty convenient for structuring React components, and get that available in the browser is something that we can see and interact with, because clearly JSX and the React style syntax is not something that's compatible that you can just paste into your JavaScript console and execute. So what we'll do is create a new temporary folder here, and we'll just call it React Hello World. And we're going to go into here, and there are tools from Facebook and others to do things like create a boilerplate project for you and get all this stuff done for you, but I think it's important to kind of have the foundations down as well. So we'll open up a session of VS Code here, and first we're going to create a webpack config file. This is a module that's meant to export just a JavaScript object that describes the project, imports, exports, and how we're going to build it. So webpack is modular by design. It takes your entry files, it performs a series of transformation on those files using loaders, and then it produces output. So first we're going to assume that we're going to do something like that, have an index file, it's going to be our entry point. We're going to define the list of loaders. There's the regex for what sort of file this is going to be. JSX file, possibly a JSX file, but definitely a JS file. Loader, Babel loader, and we don't want to pull in all the npm imports. We'll get messy, we'll have a huge bundle. And we're going to put just something called bundle, and we'll say that the path will be public. So this is a basic model. It's going to use the Babel loader, which we have yet to install. And we'll go Babel core, Babel loader, and we're going to jump ahead a little bit here and download some of the preset packages, which will enable us to start writing code using the newer syntax of the more recent ES2015 features. So in order to do that, we will now have to create a .babelrc file in the project directory, which is just a JSON file describing the presets and plugins and other options that are relevant to this Babel project, and what's going to happen when Babel transpiles the files in the loader input. In order to produce the output, we will pass the presets ES2015 stage 1, and we are also going to install the React preset. So now that we've installed the React preset, we also get some of the basic libraries required for React and React DOM, which is a renderer. Again, separation of concerns, good design decision by React. We have React as the core library, and then you can import one of many separate renderers in order to deal with React, which is kind of a concept or a framework, and it is implemented by React DOM in order to allow a web-based front-end to be implemented with React, whereas other efforts like React Native allow you to construct essentially a native application for a mobile app using React, or something like there's a recent project that was featured on HN that's something to the effect of being able to write console applications that are going to emit curses code using React. So again, what we're going to do now is create a source directory, and now because we've set up Babel and configured it and created a webpack directory, a webpack config file, we are going to spell everything wrong. We're going to make sure that this all works. So we're going to import the React libraries that we installed. So React and the renderer. We are going to create a default function that's going to be our entry point, and we'll say React DOM render h1 hello world. Simplest thing we could render. Actually, we'll just stick that in the body for now because it's a hello world example. And we're going to have this happen as a result of the event listener for the load event on the page. Okay, and we will go and add the event listener here. Let's give it a try. Looks like it worked out, but it's not necessarily going to work in the browser yet. Sometimes we'll see it fails in the browser despite a successful compilation with webpack. So now we've got the bundle.js emitted here, and if we take a look at it, we'll find that it's all webpacked together such that everything that's been compiled, or excuse me, written in ES2015 is now baked down to ES5 and compatible with pretty much most browsers that are going to touch our project. Back here, in order to do anything with this, let's make just a quick little index file. So there's our body, and then we'll bring in the script that we made, and we'll reference it here. Point for later. We'll call it the origin. Alright, so in order to get a peek at what we've done so far, we're going to go into that static file directory, that public directory we've created, and we are going to spawn one of the built-in modules here with Python called simple HTTP server, and it just takes a port as an argument, so we'll say 8000, and it's going to serve up the current directory on the port we specify. So we'll open up Google and we'll go localhost 8000, and there we are. React is rendering JSX successfully on the client, and now we could start to increase our workflow by using Webpack's watch, which will look at the code for any changes that happen, and then say we make a change, it will instantly emit a new bundle, and then if we refresh the browser we can see the change in context. There are tools from Facebook and others which again automate the boilerplate generation process, so you won't find yourself writing these Webpack configuration files. Although this is a simple example of a Webpack configuration file that can grow to be somewhat large and complex, as you may do different branches for configuration, assuming dev and production environments have different situational settings, or alternatively you may have style loaders, static bundle loaders, HTML templating loaders, plugins to optimize the resulting bundle, something that will munge the file name, variable names, mangle them rather, something that will look for common chunks between the different subsets of different submodules of the JavaScript bundle, and attempt to produce the smallest possible optimized bundle from that. Basically, Webpack is an incredibly modular tool that can be as simple or as complex as you want to build your workflow around. So, in the next video, we're going to take a look at how to integrate this with something like RX or Redux.